Jackson trying to escape and run for it, and he's got it and more. Lamar Jackson down the sideline. Will they give it to him? They will. Touchdown, Baltimore.
And with 1:17 left to play on Wild Card Weekend, the Hayes in the barn.
Oh my God! I wish you guys could. I wish we had a camera in here so you could see what we're doing. We're just a bunch of clowns in here.
How much fun is that?
All right, welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown Podcast. It is Friday, May 14th. My name is Jake Luke. I am joined on my screen by Spencer Nathaniel Schultz, who looks like he's sporting a fresh cut. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope. I have one tomorrow. Got hair over my ears. Get one tomorrow, actually.
It's looking a little shiny and tight.
I'm sweaty. Just got back from the gym.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, I am cracking a sweaty vizzy right now because it is a Thirsty Thursday. And, we're just having a good time here. Still coming down off of that whole NFL draft thing that happened a couple weeks ago. But, that was a ton of fun. And as the NFL does, they had another big-time event lined up immediately right after it. And that, of course, was the schedule release, which, as everybody loves to get all angry about the NFL doing their little TV programs for these kind of things, a lot of people have fun with it. But, I didn't watch the show. But I'm glad that people enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw the leaks come in and all that good stuff, and I'm not big to watch it, but the Ravens video that they released of Eric DeCosta getting all those cameos was just absolutely incredible. Peak moment of that. There's many peak moments of it. You obviously tweeted one out from the podcast account, which is Johnny Drama not only screaming something about the Vikings and Viking Quest, and then go Ravens!
Victory! Yeah, that's I totally forgot. I was going to add that. I would go Ravens onto the soundboard. That'll probably be good.
It'll be on there.
But yeah, that was big for us. For anyone who knows our brand knows we're big drama guys. So we love to see that.
Big time drama guys. We both have calf implants in his honor. One each. Each of us have one. But that, and then followed by the amazing T-set naked man who did.
Go ahead.
That was ridiculous. Underrated how incredibly ridiculous that was.
And underrated in how incredibly wrong that could have gone. And I mean, obviously they wouldn't have tweeted anything out. If, let's say something happens.
Just sitting there watching Cameo and just oh, got a little wiener slip. Oh boy.
Yeah. And they're just like, well, you didn't say that it had to be, 100% successful. So we sent you the Cameo and you do with it what you will. That would have been a little bit of a tough scene for whoever was
Heidi Montag in there from The Hills. I don't know what that was all about, but
they had a couple thirst buckets from The Bachelor as well. There was a who's who of people.
I don't even know. I've seen a good bit of The Bachelor, and I don't even really know those two that well. But Heidi was a real wild card, and then Shooter is just going crazy for almost half of the video. It's Shooter just
that guy
clowns up here, and you're gonna put him back down there.
That guy is. I kind of feel for him. He's really milking that character. He's anywhere and everywhere, and anything he can do to capitalize on the Shooter character. Almost 30 years later, he does that. You hear stories about him staying out at college bars literally all night just by himself, signing autographs and shit. It's you feel for him a little bit. I think he's had some DUI stuff, so it's a little dicey there with old Shooter. But it's always fun when he pops into the mix. And
it's always dicey with Shooter. Shooter's a real son of a gun.
Yeah, he was in the video for it was a 6-minute video. I swear he was on screen for 2 minutes.
Right. Yes. He occupied a lot of it, but that was incredible. That was awesome. I enjoyed that very much so. John Harbaugh's little look. You know that he also loves The Office. So Kevin on there, I can't remember the actor's name, whose
Brian Baumgartner.
His voice is such a prolific radio voice when he's not in character of playing Kevin.
Because his Kevin voice is so different from his real one. I mean, obviously it's the same, but he uses all these.
He was really acting like Kevin was really a character.
Well, it's funny because like with Kevin, like it started as just like a normal guy, and then The Office started to get a little more cartoonish, and so like the Kevin character got more cartoonish, and he started doing this and getting more cartoony, and it's like he definitely wasn't talking like that in like the first couple seasons, and then he just became like an absolute caricature.
Him, Angela, Oscar, all those characters started to get more shine as the series went on. It like evened out, and they started to bring them to light. And I think they probably realized that they had like a good dynamic and good chemistry between everyone, and so it evened out a little bit more so. But that whole thing was awesome. Schedule is a tough one for sure. You're looking at it, you're not playing the Jags and the Giants and having that cakewalk towards the end of it, but it's an interesting one, and we'll see. It's always tough to. Everybody's a paper champion. Everybody's got a great improved defense and all that stuff at this point in the year after the draft and free agency, and everybody feels really good about their team. And
every year, sorry to cut you off, but every year it's always 10-6. That's the number. Every year it's 10-6, and now it's going to be different. And it's like, what is that default like Giants/Ravens?
I feel like everybody likes 12-5 now for the Ravens. That's the new thing.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was looking it over, and that's what I arrived upon. And we don't have to go game by game and say, oh, is that going to be a win? Is that going to be a win? We're going to take a look at it, but that's sort of the takeaway.
We'll do that before. We'll get into that before the season starts. We'll see through training camp. Did we see the preseason schedule?
Yeah, I think they put it out. I forget. I
didn't see it. I know that it's the Saints week 1 because I remember the Saints schedule got leaked, and I believe the Saints are coming to Baltimore. But I like preseason, and I like it for all the UDFAs. Ravens have some big-name UDFAs, and with how weird this past scouting process was, like this could be the greatest UDFA general NFL class of all time because of how weird this entire process was with COVID. So many players could have slipped through the cracks. So many guys that would have had really big years and their team didn't play, or they didn't quite play enough and weren't able to have workouts and do all that kind of stuff. And so it has the potential for that. So I'm very intrigued. I believe it is 3 preseason games.
I'm trying to pull it up right now. This Baltimore Sun article is a little meaty, so I'm not seeing anything in the beginning that would indicate. Okay, here we go. Or no, that's wrong. They don't have it in the article. Come on, Jonas. But yeah, it was definitely Saints was on there. I think Lions.
So we got Saints at Panthers at Washington for the Battle of the Beltway.
Okay. I like that.
So those are the 3 weeks on the press release on BaltimoreRavens.com. So
are we going to that Washington game again? Make that a tradition?
Oh, for sure. That's an absolute positive. I'll probably go to that Saints one too. Who knows? Panthers. I've got some friends in Charlotte. Maybe. No, I'm not going to do that. But
yeah, that might be a little bit of a hike for a preseason.
I'll pretend like I will. But so I'm excited to have the preseason back. I think it's nice to be able to acclimate the rookies and get some runs, see who's the UDFA story of the camp, and everybody gets their favorite guy, and all that good stuff. So we'll be in the Jeremy Butler Memorial Studio watching the next Jeremy Butler come to fruition, and that's exciting. Watching Miles Boykin Part 2 had just absolutely be a Hall of Fame preseason player and true class, and then get really hyped up about it. That's the best part of August.
I'm already printing the James Prochet headlines. People have already started on that. Before we do,
he's gonna tear up this preseason. Good Lord.
Yeah, he's gonna do big things, and he's got good QBs at his disposal too. There with our boy Tracy Unitas and Tyler Huntley. So it's gonna be fun to watch. Preseason. Yeah, preseason, another thing people kind of bitch about, and it's just like I never understood that because it's like, well, what do you want in August? Just nothing. Because that's like
just
what you
shut
would
up.
Get.
If you have some sort of negative take about it, just like don't. Just don't.
Yeah, just relax. But I did want to quickly, before we jump further into this proper, I would say forgot to give a shout out on the last episode, but there was an additional package that came in from listener of the show, Jack Gerard, located out in California, I believe. A listener of the show follows us on Twitter, and he sent us a very, very nice package to the old Jeremy Butler Memorial Studio with a couple different things, and I just wanted to give him a quick shout out because he sent some really cool cards our way. So this is the one that most recently came in. Don't know how well you can really see that, but it's a Torrey Smith card, and it's
so cool.
Yeah, it's sick. It's framed. It's really nice. He got one on his first one that he sent. Joe Flacco framed up, really cool. Got like some details and stuff on the back there. And then Bernard Pierce, a little bit more of a random one, but it was pretty sick, and it's signed. So there you go.
Jersey card too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Super Bowl champion.
I love me some Bernard Pierce.
Yeah, he
Super
was
Bowl champion.
He was great. Yeah, like he was the the guy who was like behind the guy. Shout out to Swingers. He was the guy behind Ray Rice, the guy behind the guy who like everyone was really obsessed with because he was fast and like that early round pick. I was excited about him. It's unfortunate it didn't really work out, but he included a handwritten note or hand typed. Jake and Spen, appreciate the awesome Ravens content, boys. Being way out in California makes it nearly impossible to be able to talk Ravens, so the podcast really help connect me back to home. Hope the Cards find the Jeremy Butler Memorial Studio well. Keep up the great work and keep pursuing your dreams, Jack. Very nice.
Love that, Jack. That was awesome. We love our listeners that are, especially ones that are maybe some displaced local ones or guys that, are Ravens fans and don't have anybody to talk about the Baltimore Ravens with. I don't know. I love that. I love being able to be a part of that community and keep people tied to the Ravens through that and all that good stuff. So we appreciate it. And if you're a lonely Ravens fan, always DM us, always, tweet at us, message us, whatever. And we're always down to talk some Ravens football. And if, you're around, hopefully we're able to tailgate and do that stuff this year. We'll see how it goes. And if you come to a game, something like that, always hit us up. We love our listeners. And that was really nice. Thank you, Jack. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. We do have a lot of, I know, remote listeners that reach out in that manner via DM or email, whatever it might be. Got some people in like Europe that reach out at times, which I think is pretty sick. Something that I never would have thought I wouldn't say responsible.
Ravens fans in Brazil. There's like a huge cult of Brazilian Ravens fans, which is awesome.
Yeah, that Brazil Ravens Twitter account, I believe.
There's the Twitter, and there's like, if you check our listener demographics, there's like, I think it's like 80 or plus a month are from Brazil, which is crazy to me. And I find that to be really awesome. So all over the world, we appreciate our listeners. We appreciate the Ravens flock and all that good stuff. So thank you guys.
Yeah, we certainly do. So that was very nice. And just appreciate all the support through draft season that we got. And this is kind of feels like a little bit of a culmination of that. So thank you very much, Jack, for the stuff. Going to be getting that on the wall here. Hopefully might be a little bit of a revamp of the wall coming soon. Got actually a new table on the way that your boy got from Wayfair. So studio's maybe going to be a little more spacious. So, next time you want to come by, hopefully we can see what we can do about that. I might need to get some more comfortable chairs because we're still working with the Dwight Schrute, like bouncing around like type situation. So, maybe just keep revamping the man cave in here, man.
There we go. Jeremy Butler Memorial Studio. Already great, only getting greater.
Absolutely. All right. So you want to talk some schedule?
Let's talk some schedule.
So it came out via leaks pretty much as it does. It kind of trickles out over time over the course of the day leading up to when the schedule reveal show is. It pretty much always comes out like hours before the show, or it comes out complete hours before the show premieres. Shout out to our friend Banks, is usually all over it. He got it again this year, I think, a couple hours ahead of time. So yeah, it came out. We had Raiders in week 1. I think that came out pretty early because the CBS and Fox slates for the previous Sunday to that got put out, and it was like, all right, Ravens are going to be in prime time. So they are going to be Monday Night Football, week 1, Monday, September 13th, 8:15 p.m. at the Las Vegas Raiders in the big Roomba off the Strip.
Absolutely amazing at the gigantic Roomba. I'm really excited. I definitely want to go to that. I've been talking to a couple buddies. I'm trying to go out to Vegas, and we'll see with the ticket prices. They're pretty high. I already bought season tickets for the Ravens, so I don't know if I'll be going to the game or not. But if I'm watching it in like a sports book in Vegas, that would still be awesome. I've never been to Vegas, so that'd be a very, very, very fun vacation for me, it feels like, as hopefully, vaccinations, restrictions, everything are going out and about. So I'm definitely going to that one. I've never gone to a Ravens road game, only the Super Bowl. That's the only time I've seen the Ravens play, not at M&T Bank Stadium. I've also seen Washington for preseason, but regular season or postseason, just in the bank in there. So I'm excited for that one. The Raiders are going to be a really fun matchup. It feels like the Ravens, I think, have outscored their opponents. And I think the last 5 home openers by like well over 100 points. I think it's like 155-17, something along those lines. So obviously John Harbaugh gets them good to go, and they throttle teams. So I'm excited for that one, very much so, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's I think maybe a more fun matchup than people maybe want to give it credit for. The Raiders' offensive line is going to be in a tough spot. See what happens with Alex Leatherwood there now, but that's going to be an issue. But the Ravens' pass rush might be an issue. So I think combination of it being at home with both teams fully rested, I think the Raiders could be a little bit of a frisky team, so it's going to be tough. Harbaugh's going to have the boys ready to rock. Confident he will. That week 1 record is, I think it speaks for itself. And I'm definitely excited for that one. I might try to get out there too, but I would want to see a reduction in ticket prices.
For sure. And the Ravens have 2 Monday night games this year, and that is the 8th time in team history and the 2nd consecutive season that they have 2 Monday night games.
Yeah.
And there was a lull for such a long time without a home Monday night game. I think it was like 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, I think that was Harbaugh actually got a little snippy about it. I think this past year about how
he was, for sure. Everybody was, but I feel like all Ravens fans were too.
Yeah, they probably were a little bit. It's annoying, I get why other teams get these spotlights in certain situations, but like it also at a certain point, like they're doing it based on like markets and like cities, and it's like, hey, it's 2021, like that shit doesn't really matter anymore,
Right. So they have 3 primetime games in their first 5 games with Kansas City Sunday night at home opener.
What did I tell you?
Be a full stadium.
What did I tell you? Week 2, Kansas City Chiefs under the lights, Allen Chris sliding in. The quarter zips are going to be crispy. They're going to be smiling. Lisa's going to be down there just, talking us through it all. So it's, it's going to be a blowout in favor of the Chiefs. I'm already just resigning myself to that. And we'll see where the Ravens are at after that week 1 game, because you can already mark that one down as a big fat L in my mind.
Yeah, we're especially after last year, after I let myself drink the Kool-Aid, after I promised that I wouldn't. I'm not. Fool me 1 time, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Unload the chopper. I am not. I'm betting against them. I'm going to put money on the Ravens to lose that game, so that I will be, it'll soften the blow. It'll soften the blow.
Yeah.
If that is to happen, I am predicting an L there as well. And we're not doing predictions really on this episode. We'll get into that later in the year. But yeah, we're both going to be taking
we're declaring prima nocta on that game. Like we're calling it right now.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
So back-to-back primetime games to start the season. And that's really crazy, to be honest.
It's funny. Listener of the show, Jordan, I think, tweeted, if you had told me 3 years ago that the Ravens without Flacco would have 5 primetime games 3 years from now, and none of them would include the Steelers, I would have called you crazy or whatever. I think that's kind of a funny point.
We will not. I mean, we did have the Wednesday matinee, but yeah, no primetime Steelers games.
Well, he meant for this year.
That's a very easy flex option. Very easy flex option.
No, he meant for this year, and yeah, we will get into that. We will get into that. So week 3, going on the road again, up to the Motor City. Sunday, September 26th, 1 p.m. Jared Goff and the boys biting kneecaps. This is kind of weird, that NFC North matchup. 3rd week of the year feels a little early, but I think there might have been some rejiggering with the fact that they added one to the schedule now.
Right, and that one for me, that one's crept into my head. Like I'm gonna bet the Ravens a lot to cover whatever spread that is as soon as I can. Maybe I can now. I'm not sure, but I feel like that is blowout city. It's a new team with a new team is in, new GM, new head coach, like new era, and I feel like the Ravens typically throttle those types of situations, like what the Lions did in the draft, yada yada yada. But
especially
Ravens have some weird times in Detroit. There have been some weird Detroit games. Between the Justin Tucker.
Yeah, last time they played there was the Justin Tucker game. Then the Lions came to Baltimore in 2017 in that game where Flacco and the offense woke up out of nowhere in the second half. They won that too. So it's been a while for the Lions, but who knows?
The game before that, I think, was that infamous or famous 22 penalty Terrell Suggs game in Detroit. That was I just remember Terrell Suggs drooling on himself, so mad about penalties.
And he bumped Mike Carey, and Mike Carey threw him out of the game and said he bumped me with malice in his heart. So
yes. And
then Mike Carey went on to become one of the most, I wouldn't say reviled, but maybe not the most correct men in terms of calling penalties for CBS. Remember Mike Carey doing that for a couple years back?
Not really, but makes sense.
He got so they brought him into as their officiating expert or whatever. And
right.
He was maybe one of the first ones that was really doing it. It's pretty common now, but he was called in. I think this was 2015 was the first year. And that was the year that pass interference was really starting to be, or no, the catch rule is what it was. The football move and all that shit when the Panthers were in the Super Bowl. And I remember like he got called in on one, and biggest spot of the year. He had been getting them wrong all year. He got called in on the Super Bowl on, is this going to be a catch for the Panthers? And he got it wrong. And it was like, oh, poor Mike. He's going to get shit canned after this game from his role. And he did. And that's unfortunate. But yeah, Terrell Suggs also once bumped him with malice in his heart. So a lot of connective threads there between the Lions, the Ravens, and Mike Carey.
With malice in his heart. Yeah. That takes us to week 4.
Which is going to be also
Sick.
away. It is going to be sick. I love
that one. I could see myself going to 2 games this year. And
you're just going to every game here. You're jet setting around the nation.
I really want to go to some away games this year, for sure. And Denver is one of my favorite cities on earth. Colorado, I've got a little love in my heart for Colorado in general, and I absolutely love Denver. Love the food there. Love all the good stuff. Mile High Stadium looks sick. I've driven past it quite a few times. It looks so sick. I feel like it's a really fun experience there. So that one, a tough one. Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of Aaron Rodgers rumors. It feels like the Ravens will, no matter what, probably play Aaron Rodgers, as I feel like his number one destination is Denver. I think that's the odds-on favorite, and apparently Denver has been, trying to release that they feel like they have a good shot, and then the Packers later on the schedule as well if he does not go anywhere. So it feels like the Ravens will see Mr. Rodgers in the neighborhood or in his neighborhood at some point.
Yeah, I mean, 3 away games and you're home to the Chiefs. Like, that's
tough start. Really tough start.
That's dicey, and you're changing time zones for one of them too. It's
luckily the Lions, who knows, but
or 2 of them.
As of now, it feels like that's a potential throttle. They don't really have.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions, like if you start off, let's say they start off 0-2, God forbid, or if they're like 1-1, they scrape past the Raiders or something and they're pissed off. I think they're definitely going to beat the Lions in that case.
Yep, and then playing a tough defense, Vic Fangio's defense. Broncos got a ton of pieces this year defensively.
They
got Micah Parsons. No, they got J.C. Horn.
Horn? Yeah, they got Horn. Parsons went to the Cowboys.
No, they got Surtain.
Oh shit! Yeah, Horn went to the Panthers. Yeah, but is Teddy Bridgewater really going to win the job over Drew Lock? Like, I get Drew Lock is like kind of had a tough go of it, and he's maybe a little turnover prone, whereas Teddy is the opposite. But I just feel so. I like Teddy Bridgewater as a person, but I'm not super inspired by like his ability to go off. Drew Lock, obviously, maybe not as much either. But
they have a really good offensive line. I feel like on a Vic Fangio team where you were expecting your defense to be your Viva la Resistance, you might want the more conservative quarterback and to play that sort of possession, turnover, free ball control type of game script.
Which is sick that
Teddy fits that.
It's sick that they're doing that in 2021. God bless him.
Love it. So I mean, we'll see. Aaron Rodgers, maybe not. But yeah, 3 feels like 3 out of 4 pretty, winnable games. Then followed up by what I feel like is going to be a fucking tough game.
Home to
the
Indy.
Colts.
Yeah.
Colts on Monday night at home. Vaz hates the Colts with malice in his heart. As much as really any other team, I feel like Vaz hates the Colts.
Yeah, like kind of. I don't know if he was really like alive though for like when they.
Right,
I mean, he was alive. I think he was alive, but like he grew up a Dolphins fan or a 49ers fan, I think, and he was a big Marino guy
like that. So
feel free to correct us on Twitter. If
love all of that for him. Wentz, gave the Ravens some troubles last year, for sure. In the second half of that game in Philly, where they just kind of got lazy, defensively especially, and the Colts gave the Ravens problems last year. And the Colts are a scary team to me. I think they might be slept on. I think Wentz, had a bad year, really, really, really bad year. I charted a couple of his games and worked on a couple of his games as well. I think I ended up working on or charting like 5 of Wentz's games last year. And yeah, he was shitty, but he also has the playmaking ability still. And he was just in a crippling offense with no offensive line. And it feels like Frank Reich was the rainmaker for that Super Bowl run for that offense and a very talented defense. And Doug Peterson is kind of the facade of that now that has been exposed. They also have had a ton of injury problems. There's that too. But Colts, tough D, definitely tough matchup last year. The Ravens had to have that awesome second half kind of throwing it to the flats and doing some weird stuff after they got pretty throttled in the first half offensively. That big Chuck Clark fumble return on, a Marcus Peters forced fumble strip. And that was a really big game for the Ravens last year. So that's an exciting matchup at home on Monday night. That's a tough one.
Yeah, the Marcus Peters interception as well. So he really went off in that game. Yeah, I mean, you're home twice in that first 5-game stretch. Both are, big Sunday and Monday night games. So it's interesting. And finally going to be at home in week 6 on 1 p.m. Time against the Los Angeles / Southern California / who could say Chargers, brought to you by SoFi and student loan debt.
Brought to you by student loan debt. So that marks almost the beginning of almost a month where the Ravens will not travel, as they have 4 straight home games with a bye mixed in there. So they've got Colts, the Colts marks that. So it's Colts, Chargers, Bengals, bye, Vikings. So the Ravens have a good opportunity after, being on the road. We'll see what happens, but they should really know themselves going through that stretch. They'll have an opportunity to get comfy, get acquainted, and have a bye week in there as well. So they have a pretty even bye week. Week 8, not the best bye week, but definitely could be earlier and could be worse. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but yeah, Chargers, tough. Herbert, Chargers got a lot better. They're also maybe will be healthier. They're the class, them and like the Eagles are the 2 teams that I think of when I think of every year being absolutely decimated with injuries no matter what happens. But they substantially improved. You're expecting, Bosa to be fully healthy. Derwin James possibly able to play. We'll see what happens with that. He's had some real troubles. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He's incredible. One of my favorite defenders in the NFL, but tons of talent both sides of the ball. They got Rashawn Slater. They got Corey Linsley as well. So their offensive line should be solidified. And obviously they got some playmaking wide receivers there, pretty balanced overall. We'll see how Herbert goes into his sophomore year. As last year, he was electric and all that good stuff. My kind of stupid gut feeling that I'll probably just dunk on myself with is guts. I just have kind of similar vibes, not as a person or a player necessarily. Well, I got a little bit as a player, but to Baker Mayfield's rookie year and everyone really expecting him to just
you've literally
taken the NFL in his sophomore year in the NFL, and it just didn't happen that way.
You took the words exactly out of my mouth. And Herbert, I think, is more emotionally mature than Baker was at the time. So I don't think it's going to
be more
even
keel.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be necessarily by his fault. Maybe not even I don't even think it was totally Baker's fault why that happened.
He just has huge expectations this year.
Yeah, new head coach, huge expectations. Everyone's just assuming that he's a shoo-in to be an MVP candidate. That didn't work out well for Baker, and he's done a nice job turning it around. And I think Herbert's going to be fine over the long term, but I think he might be in for a rude awakening. He's not going to be playing in these meaningless games down the stretch anymore. There's going to be a lot of weight on the old Golden Boy's shoulders there.
For sure. He is super talented. He was awesome last year. He very well could have a great year, but I'm just not positive that he's going to be, lighting it up and that MVP caliber player. I think he has all the capability to be for sure, but I think people have kind of just jumped to that conclusion already. And we've seen the second year struggles, especially going from, like you mentioned, one system to another. This is early in the season relatively as well. It's a West Coast to East Coast 1 p.m. game. Those are tough as well. So could be a very tough matchup, but the Ravens have a couple of things in their favor there, I feel like, as well. Second game at home. Plus you have the Bengals, week 7, coming up after that. So an opponent you're familiar with that you've been able to handle pretty well, and they do have that bye week in sight after that. But Chargers, all these matchups except for the Lions to start through the first, 6 games?
Yes.
5 games.
6 games, yeah.
Or 6 games. Those all feel, except for the Lions, feel like, there's going to be some competition there. The Ravens could throttle a couple teams, maybe not the Chargers, but Broncos possibly the Lions. And then that leads you up to the Bengals, where divisional opponent. That's week 7, 1 p.m. kickoff at home. And Burrow coming back from the ACL. They go get Riley Reif, who is better than what they had, but not great. They're expecting Jonah Williams to continue to impress. He had a pretty strong year last year. Jamar Chase, as you and I were discussing recently, I think we'll get an early flavor of if he's going to be an AJ Green thorn, which wouldn't shock me if the Bengals got someone that could just annihilate the Ravens again for the next 5 years. It would just feel very apropos. But the Ravens have just straight up had the Bengals number under why can't I think of their coach's name?
Zach Taylor.
They have been throttling the Bengals under Zach Taylor. So It's curious there for sure. And they have an improved defense as well. Trey Hendrickson, we'll see how he is. Feels like he might be a little overpaid in a result of great defense in New Orleans. And they made a couple of other additions. They also had William Jackson depart in free agency to go to Washington. So tough loss there. But the Bengals offense just has had nothing going against the Ravens. If they don't get something going in that game, I feel like, if the Bengals don't have a good record, we might be creeping towards Zach Taylor getting fired in the 2021 season if, they're not competitive again, but very well could be.
Yeah, I mean, if Mike Brown is smart, he's pretty much already lining up the offer sheet for Joe Brady, so we'll see what happens. But, right. This could be a frisky game, like especially if they start out like 3-3 or something. They got some weapons. Burrow can move around a little bit. He's good. So yeah, I think that could be potential to be a fun little game, but we don't have to go crazy over it. Week 8 bye. John Harbaugh off the bye is money against the Minnesota Football Vikings in Week 9, 1 p.m. game at the Bank.
I feel like the Vikings are in a weird spot where obviously, Justin Jefferson's outstanding. They have some certainly talented players. We'll see how Danielle Hunter comes back. Zimmer's in a weird spot. It feels like he's a really strong coach, but things just don't click for them all the way. And I have a feeling this is going to be a year for the Vikings where they kind of just can't get going and the wheels kind of fall off. And I think we could also see a Zimmer firing potentially this year. I don't know. Kirk is very efficient, and I know like PFF loves him and all that good stuff, but at home, out of that, they're not, indoors in that stadium, and the Ravens being home for so long and coming off a bye, it feels like that's going to be a tough game for the Vikings. But they certainly do have, Thielen and Jefferson and all that stuff. We'll see again, we're not trying to get into wins and losses. We'll see who's healthy by then. But coming off that bye, you definitely have to like the Ravens for sure.
Yep. Then after that, little Thursday night football action, taking their talents down to South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins. Dale.
I don't know the last time the Ravens traveled on a Thursday night game.
Bengals in week 2018, I think. They got smoked.
Yep. Early. That was like the first Thursday night game, I think.
Yeah, they played Sunday in week 1, then they beat the Bills, then they traveled to Cincy for Thursday night and lost.
Oh, so it might have been. Was it? Yeah, maybe it was week 2. Yeah, I can't remember. I forgot that they do Thursday night games. I don't know when did they start that?
It's been a while.
The week 1 opener, the Super Bowl champ plays on Thursday.
It's been a while.
I can't remember when that started, but yeah, that's obviously tough. The Dolphins, we'll see the exact opposite of Herbert, kind of, where we'll see if Tua is able to make a leap. He gets Waddle. It feels like they were really smart this offseason. And obviously traveling after playing the Vikings at home, traveling down there on a short week is tough. So they have a very tough defense. I like what Brian Flores is doing. I think they're a very competitive team that, definitely could be a losable game.
Yeah, I think so too. Then they're going to get some good rest for week 11 where they're taking on what you got to assume by this point will be Justin Fields and the Bears in Chicago, November 21st.
Rookie quarterback. Everyone knows how much I love Justin Fields, but Ravens seem to shut them down, giving him a bunch of exotic blitzes, all that good stuff. I think that might give him some trouble. And should be pretty chilly up there, late November, ahead of Thanksgiving. So I don't know the last time they went to Chicago. Had to be at least 8 years ago, I guess.
It was 2013, I want to say. Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall just absolutely boned them. Or Josh McCown really boned them. Just tossing
I have
up.
no recollection of that game.
It was awful. It was one of the worst losses I can remember. Like, it was 2013, they were teetering on the playoffs. They maybe needed one more win, and they just let that game slip by. Muddy, rainy, dark Soldier Field. Josh McCown gets in for Cutler and just starts lighting them up. Flacco cannot get anything going. Ray Rice had a terrible year that year. He actually had a really good game, that one game that year, and they just couldn't capitalize. Like, they couldn't get anything going through the air. I think Flacco was turning it over and goes into overtime. McCown just hawks one up to Alshon Jeffrey, hauls it in. They kick a field goal and got out of town with a win. It was I vividly remember watching that game in my freshman dorm, just devastated.
I can barely remember any of that. That one escapes me.
You're better off for it. Let's just say that.
Good. I'm glad.
Home, final scheduled primetime game of the year, week 12, Sunday, November 28th. Baker and the boys coming to town for Alan Chris sliding in for the second time. This is going to be a fun one.
That is, if you want to do a way too early must-win game, I think that's the one. Because the Browns have Baltimore at Baltimore, bye Baltimore. So the Browns won't have had a bye all through that time. It's week 12. They have a super, super late bye in week 13. You're home. It's your final primetime game of the year, unless they get flexed, obviously, which, week 18 feels like it is setting up perfectly too. We'll get to that. But I feel like that is a very, very big game on the Ravens' schedule. The meat and potatoes of them needing to, good Lord.
What's going on there?
Someone's being a real jerk outside. So needing to win that game, it feels like. I'm gonna call that the must-win game in May. So we'll see how the cookies crumble. But yeah, that's exciting. The Browns have a very deep roster now. They made a ton of additions defensively, so maybe the Ravens aren't able to just consistently be throttling them on that side of the football. We'll see how the Ravens match up. On the other side of the ball, it felt like that last game, that epic game, things really fell apart in game because of injuries in the secondary. And that's what really allowed the Ravens couldn't keep, blitzing like that and playing some more strenuous coverages, and the Browns took advantage. So that's a big time matchup.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be fun. I think the Browns are gonna be really good this year, and that could be a division decider. Honestly, the way you put it like that. Week 13, 425 at old Heinz Field. The greatest team to ever walk the earth because they swept the Ravens last year. And then got fucking blown out by the Browns in the wild card round. Pittsburgh Steelers, 4:25 p.m., Week 13, away game. They're crunching a lot of these, like you mentioned, division games into the second half of the year, which is intriguing.
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
First time they see the Browns, Week 12. First time they see the Steelers, Week 13. And I'm predicting, here's another bold prediction, blowout. I think the Ravens, I could easily see the Steelers being completely unhinged by this point in the year. How long can you rely on Ben Roethlisberger to be healthy?
Even if they start winning games, I think they're just going to have a burned out clutch by this point, and like Roethlisberger is just going to be fucking limping around, like doing his thing. Like then maybe they'll have won games, but like it's just they're in for a grind of a year, especially with the extra game.
Yes.
Like
they lose Bud Dupree, they lose Steven Nelson, they lose Mike Hilton. Or no, did they lose? Yeah, they lost Mike Hilton.
Didn't he go to the Chiefs?
No, he went to the Bengals.
Yeah, Mike Hughes actually just got traded.
Vince Williams stayed, and Steven Nelson, I can't recall. Yeah, he's still a free agent. Okay. So Steven Nelson, in my opinion, one of the most underrated corners in the NFL over the last few years. And I feel like they've aren't going to be able to rely on their defense to be this dominant force yet again. Cam Hayward's still really good. TJ Watt, of course. Alex Highsmith, they're all high on. They get Devin Bush back. They retain Vince Williams, Minko very good, blah, 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 blah. People talk about their offensive line. Their interior offensive line is fine. Their tackles are not, and their tackles don't have depth. So people, I feel like a lot of Steelers pundits, whoever, have been like, oh, they'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. But injuries happen, and especially, if Ben comes back from what he came back from and doesn't miss a game in the course of 2 years, that would be pretty shocking.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So,
yeah, they're in for a weird year, man. We will see. I think it's gonna be a tough game.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be blowing them out personally, but I could see a win there. Away to the Brownies again. So you get the Browns, then the Steelers, and then the Browns in Week 14, 1 p.m. at the Mistake on the Lake.
If they can go 2-1 through that stretch, they're probably sitting really pretty. Browns, Steelers, Browns, you're probably sitting very, very pretty. So we'll see. But yeah, 2 out of 3 against the Browns. And it is what it is. That'll be, feels like the Browns have the possibility. Let's say hypothetically, Ben goes down. The Steelers have a crappy year. The Browns are really fucking good. And that game, I feel like, could be the shift in the paradigm of the Ravens and Browns rivalry getting super, super heated, and maybe taking a little bit of steam away from the Steelers. And, playing twice in 3 weeks is tough against a divisional opponent. And that's where you're getting into playoff implications. That's mid-December, which you feel like is the end of the year. But now there's that Week 18 going deep into January, which is just ridiculous, really. So very interesting to see what happens to that stretch. That's an important stretch, obviously. Three divisional games in a row.
Yeah, and 2 away games. So you come back home after that, Week 15, Green Bay Packers, is it going to be Blake Bortles? Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? Who could say? Sunday, December 19th at 1 p.m.
It's got to be Jordan Love, not Blake Bortles. You have to think.
Yeah, I was kind of kidding there, but he did just sign. So whoever it is, they got the Packers in that game. I think obviously Aaron Rodgers is a big force multiplier, but whether he's there or
I don't think they're anything without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, whether he's there or he's in Denver, you can maybe flip-flop those games weirdly. But
if they could somehow avoid playing Aaron Rodgers twice, because last time it was Brett Huntley, and the Ravens murked them in
that game was
Green
so
Bay
sick.
with Lambeau leaps and stuff. They shit on them.
Yeah, the Mike Wallace had that touchdown in the corner of the end zone that Flacco just flung up there. That was a fun game.
That was a sick catch, little one-handed kind of catch.
They wore those all-white uniforms. That was a sick uniform set that day.
And they were in Lambeau too, and they were just like having a blast. I feel like I remember Jimmy Smith having a big game too.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
For sure. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, it's basically, is Aaron Rodgers there or not? Very interesting wild card to this season for them. Late. The rumor was that it was going to be Packers, Rams, Steelers to close out the season. And luckily, that wasn't the case. So the Ravens get the Packers in week 15 instead of week 16. I just like that a little better, having the Bengals in there who feel like they won't be as competitive as an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers. And if Aaron's not there, then you're pretty comfortable, it feels like, at home against Green Bay.
Yep. So you hinted at the end of the schedule there, but before we get to that, obviously week 16, traveling out to the Queen City on Boxing Day, Sunday, December 26th, 1 p.m. to take on the Bungles for the second time.
Get some Skyline chili and run for 400 yards again, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, just a coronation. Let's call it that. Week 17, Matty Stafford and the boys. Going to be playing in a tough division. They might have some playoff implications there. Sunday, January 2nd. So, yeah, sneaking into that January time period for regular season games for Week 17, 4:25 p.m. game. This has the makings of a fun offensive game with Sean McVay slinging it around. It might be tough. It's going to be cold in Baltimore by that time, and they're probably going to be pretty beat up. But I'm expecting that to be a really fun one, and might be a clincher. So.
West Coast traveling east. It is scheduled for 4:25. Either of these last two games, we'll get into the last one as well, feel like they can be flexed, very much so. It's interesting. Sean McVay said that he took a lot of the Ravens rushing concepts from when the Ravens beat the shit out of them in 2019 on Monday night, just pushed their shit in. And McVay loved a lot of the Ravens running concepts and started implementing them into his own offense. And obviously with Goff playing like crap last year and being hurt and that whole ordeal, they were really relying on that run game. So I think that one stung McVay, and I feel like that's a secret McVay revenge game.
I think it definitely is.
McVay.
I think it definitely is because he, 2019, the shine was starting to wear off on him a little bit, and that game was pretty much, I feel like, the end of the, for better or
Ravens
worse.
were like dancing everywhere. Lamar was doing
it's that gif of
and
Lamar doing the dance. Yeah, like in I think
Hollywood
was
fucking jitting in the end zone.
It was like Judon housing a beer. The stadium was like half Ravens fans. It was that was one of the more famous wins in franchise history. Sneaky people talk about the game all the time, and I think rightfully so.
Definitely. So tough matchup for sure. Have to think that the Rams are licking their chops, thinking they can come to Baltimore towards the end of the year and get a little revenge. That had to have left a sour taste.
Marcus Peters, too. That's going to be some bulletin board material. He literally said...
Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters. Yes, of course. Yes, indeed.
He literally said, fuck the Rams on Akeem Tlaib's podcast the other day, which is...
Secret, big animosity game.
Yeah, it is. He's not a fan of the way that he was essentially replaced 1-to-1 by Jalen Ramsey. Listen, I might have made the same move if I were Les Snead, but I love it from my guy Marcus. It's going to be bulletin board material for them, though. I think they're going to want to target him early and often, and maybe he'll play a little possum and get one off old Matty Boy at some point with that baseball.
This will be their third defensive coordinator in 3 years.
Brad,
so
who is it?
That's a little bit tough. It was Wade Phillips, then Brandon Staley, who's now with the Chargers. And I don't know who it is now off the top of my head. I think it's the linebackers coach from the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
It is Raheem Morris. Never mind.
Oh, wow.
Raheem
Okay.
Morris. So that's a big time. I forgot about that. That's a big time hire. I do like Raheem Morris a lot. So very, very, very intrigued by that, actually. So we shall see. That is a big time game and culminating in another big time game.
Yep, week 18. First time that we've ever said that on this podcast, and first time a lot of people are saying that. Sunday, January 9th, 1 p.m. at M&T Bank Stadium. The old Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to town.
Shit show. We'll see. Again, is Roethlisberger going to be able to hold up through an even longer season, deeper into January? The wheels fell off for the Steelers at the end of the year last year. Feels like his arm started to wear thin, and another year of that. We'll see. We'll see where that ends up, but obviously big implications. And I just think this is the year that Lamar Jackson gets the Steelers. He's only played them twice, actually, I believe. Yeah. Because he sat in week 17 and in that rain game at home in 2019. And then last year, he couldn't play because of COVID. So this will be the fourth game Lamar Jackson's played against the Steelers, hopefully, after week 13 of this 2021 schedule. And I feel like we're in the same sentiment. I kind of was surprised that Ben was able to even stay active throughout last year. The wheels fell off, and we'll see. Obviously, Najee Harris helps, being able to rely on him. And people, say what you want about the Steelers' offensive line, but let's not pretend that Najee Harris isn't going to be able to do things that James Conner and freaking Benny Snell and the other backs that the Steelers have aren't able to do. I like the combo of him and Anthony McFarland, who has home run speed and can do some things as well. So that can help them if Ben is able to stay healthy and all that stuff. This game's probably, regardless, I feel like, if the Ravens aren't like 15-1 at this point or something, or 14-2, and the Steelers are in playoff competition as well, contention as well, then this game is not being played at 1 o'clock. There's no way.
Yeah, no. I mean, unless it is that Rams game and they, lock it up there, or whatever's going on with the Steelers by that point. But yeah, it does feel like it has potential for that, and that will be a ton of fun. So that kind of wraps it up. I think we've pretty much put our general thoughts out there. It's a tough schedule, but the roster is a little more balanced this year, so I think they're going to be more equipped to get into some of these gunfights that they might be getting in with some of the more modern teams that they're going to be facing here.
Absolutely. And we wanted to do a power ranking of our favorite road games on this schedule because there's some good ones.
Yeah, definitely. So first two, obviously, you got Vegas and Kansas City, and then you've got Denver, Miami, Chicago, and then obviously the three divisional cities. So I guess we can include those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, how do you want to do this?
Let's just snake draft them. You can start.
Okay. So, with the first pick in this draft, I'm just gonna go chalk. I'm gonna take Las Vegas. Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Can't go wrong there. Your money, your money, and you don't even know it. I'm excited for that one. Definitely want to go to that one. For me, I'm going to go immediately to the next fun one, which is at Denver. I already talked about that one. That's a really fun one. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers is there. That would be sick because the Broncos offense is just ready in the wings for an actually like really good quarterback to come in and light things up. Their receiving core, their offensive line. They do have Melvin Gordon. I'm sure they'll find another back, as well as Philip Lindsay's gone. Noah Fant. Everything in place there. So if that's Aaron Rodgers, regardless, I just love their stadium. I love that city, and it'll be a fun one. The Ravens have history there, Mile High, Miracle, all that good stuff. So it's, that was a pretty big rivalry back in the day. The Peyton Manning era was like its own little entity, some interesting games there. Manning, gets revenge, throws 7 touchdowns on the Ravens or something ridiculous. And that was that wasn't the season opener, was it?
Yeah, it was because we were supposed to open it here, and then we had the Orioles thing, so they had to do it in Denver that year, and tough scene.
Ridiculous. Yeah, the Super Bowl champion can't open because of their very shitty Orioles having a game the same day.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was stupid, but yeah, I like that one very much so.
Yeah, I said Kansas City, I meant Detroit, so that's going to be the other one, but that's just kind of in the mix there. I'm not going to be picking it for my second pick. With my second pick, I'm going to go ahead and go with Chicago. So I think there were two obvious picks there. I went with a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit of a more classic town than the other pick that I think is obvious there. Something that, a city that I've been to once, I want to get back to more. in a more personal capacity. I was only there for work for a couple days. Chi-Town is the pick at number 2 for me. I think it will be a great tailgating scene. Great to meet some Bears fans out there in Soldier Field and eat some brats, drink some beers, watch the Bears. Have ourselves a good day.
I like that one. I'm going to go Steelers at Steelers. I've been waiting. I'm waiting for Lamar to have his absolute unit game, his absolute Iron Man decimation, inevitable Thanos game against the Steelers. And I think we see it there. December, haven't seen the Steelers. I'm excited for that one. I want to see him go Dark Knight, go Bane, and blow up Heinz Field.
Yes. So I like you picking that based off the game. I like that. But for me, and this is a good game too, actually. And this was the other pick that I was going to take there at the second slot, and it is Dale, Miami. I'm taking Baltimore South. A lot of Ravens fans love to get down there and flush that stadium with purple. I think it might be a tougher ticket this year because
a lot of fans in general do of all teams.
Yeah, true. Ravens fans love doing it though for some reason. You get old Tony from Essex with his camo pants on up in the. It's always a funny sight with them up in the
South Beach,
the candy ass seats that they got there in Hard Rock Stadium. But yeah, it's fun. I've never made that pilgrimage. That will be a fun one. So I'm going to go ahead and take that at number 3, and I think that's going to be a good game this year on Thursday Night Football. So thrilled to get Miami with 3.
Absolutely. And I'll just go again with the Brownies, another divisional game. That one, coming, and that stretch, Browns, Steelers, Browns, 1 o'clock. That has all the vibes of like a gritty, turnover-ridden shit fest. And that's probably could be the best game of any of these away games, like in terms of competition and stakes and all that stuff of any of these road games. So love to see what happens there after that Steelers game I just mentioned. And again, going 2-1 through that stretch is important, and it's late in the year, and whoever wins that game might be the division winner.
I like that. And you were going to have, my friend, all division games, because I'm going to go ahead and take Detroit week 3 for mine. I know it's not a primetime game or anything by those means, but I think it'll be kind of fun to get out to Detroit. It's supposed to actually be like pretty nice, sneaky. Like it's obviously had its issues. I think Baltimore can relate to that a little bit as far as a national scale, having an image in their mind about it. But apparently downtown area has been cleaned up a little bit. And it's just, they're kind of slowly working their way back from what's been a tough couple of decades. And I think early in the season, that would have a chance to be a fun game as well. It's week 3, Dan Campbell with the whole, all his antics that have gone on this offseason. I think it will be kind of fun to be in the building for that.
Yeah, that would be fun. And then finally, the Bengals game, week 16. Good part of the schedule we didn't mention was that 3 of the last 4 are at home. So that is nice for sure. Staying at home, trying to win in your own spot and push for the playoffs, hopefully. So that leaves that Bengals game wedged in there, and hopefully, Bengals can be a whipping post yet again, similar to how they were late last year for the Ravens and that ground game. And it's going to be chilly on Boxing Day. And yeah, so there we go. That's the road schedule power rankings. Some exciting ones for sure, some exciting non-divisional ones, and a couple good ones to start off the bat, as well as some late divisional games. So the only games they play on the road from week 13 on are the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals. So not traveling far late in the year. The other 3 are at home to end the season, and they're your foes. They're your divisional foes. The Ravens will be able to have some familiarity, stay around in the mid-Atlantic-ish area. And yeah, so that's the power rankings for the 2021 road schedule.
Yep. So we got me with Vegas, Chicago, Miami, Detroit, and you with Denver, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. So a chalky draft on your end, but a strong one, I think, because it's a strong schedule and it's going to be a fun year. And it was fun breaking the schedule down with you, bud.
Yes, it was. We had a good time, and we will be getting into some of Jakey's evergreen content soon. We'll be trying to get some interviews as well, and all of that good stuff on the way.
Absolutely, we will. So until then, we will talk to you guys on Monday. In the meantime, follow the show on social media if you're not already. It is at Podcast Beatdown on Twitter.
Leave those 5-star reviews as well. We just hit 200.
Ooh. And
I think of any non-flagship Ravens podcast. We have the most reviews, so keep those pumping in for us. We love those. We appreciate you guys. If you are an Apple Podcast listener, please go leave us a review. I don't care if it's 1 star. Jake does. Leave us those 5 stars for Jake. Leave us a review. Write one if you feel like it. We appreciate those very, very much.
5 stars does help the algorithm a little bit better. So yeah, just make him 5 if you're going to do it. It's fine. Say whatever you want. I
also wanted to bring Joe Flacco on for one quick second here.
Look at that. It's a little goat. That's wild, man. Where'd you get that?
Francesca's a student sent it to her.
Oh, that's nice.
When she was teaching virtually and you feel like you need a moment and you feel like you're going crazy, you need to have a little scream.
Very nice. Yeah, so if you were watching on YouTube, you just got to see my horrific reaction to that. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not already. We've got 530 now, which is, I think, we're up several hundred from the last couple of months when we started kind of being a little more dedicated with that. So go ahead and check that out. Just at Baltimore Beatdown. Follow us on social media. At Podcast Beatdown on Twitter. At Jake Luke. That is Louque is me. And Spencer is at Ravens4Dummies. That's the number 4. Check out the main Twitter account at BeMoreBeatdown. And follow us on Instagram at Baltimore_Beatdown, where we're putting out plenty of good stuff as well.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
Arrivederci.
Gorlami. Gorlami.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.